How's that bracket looking, Bear?
Which side?
No.
The left side
If
is...
you have one side still good, that's
the left side is immaculate. I haven't missed a game on the left side. I've got all 8 teams that are in the Sweet 16 on the left side.
Are you saying that you had Yale?
No, this is on the left side.
Well, that was a game on the left side.
Oh, no, but all
you
8
have all
teams.
The 8, right.
I have the 8 teams that are there, yes. Maryland, whoever else is there, I don't know who it is. But
Maryland's all you're worried about.
Yeah, Maryland's all I worry about because I got them winning it. But my other side is, I ripped up half of my brackets. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, it was a mess. That was good. It was
fun mess.
Yeah.
And I don't care. As long as Bucky's playing, I don't care.
And, Michigan State, maybe the biggest upset of history, but I don't think we're ever going to complain about watching Michigan State lose.
No. You know what?
And the Badgers are still alive.
Sparty's had enough fun in the last few years. Let somebody else have some fun, and that's what's going on. My Zags are still zagging along, and it's going to be an entertaining weekend. Sweet 16 and the Elite 8 is going to be fun, and it's going to be tough to top last weekend, though.
And Wisconsin's still alive, so...
They are. Who are they playing? The Catholics. Notre Dame. That's right. Something. Yeah. Okay. All right.
We'll break down that matchup and talk more tournament. Maybe just sprinkle a little Brewers in. Opening day is getting closer and closer.
Opening day starter. Really, Craig Counsell? Willie Peralta? Come on.
All that coming up here on this episode of Extra Points. Well, full disclosure, we watched that Sunday night game together, and that was pretty fun.
It was very fun and very fun. Let's put it that way. It was fun.
Gazette sports writer John Barry there. I'm Eric Schmoldt. We get together every week for Extra Points, talk everything sports, local and regional around here, and I think that's the big story. We didn't know if Wisconsin would make it through, and now they're in the Sweet 16 for the 5th time in 6 years.
You called it. You said they don't win. If they win their first game, it's at least Elite 8.
No, right? I said they would win 1, or they would win at least 3.
Okay, well, you're close.
Now that they've gotten here, right. Now that they've gotten here, I say they're going to win another one.
Okay, well, I hope you're right. I got something to say though about the whole thing.
Oh boy, here we go.
I bought a carton of milk today, and guess whose picture was on there?
Nigel
Hayes was on my milk carton today. Where is he?
I don't know. That's kind of the intrigue of it, though, isn't it? They're still alive. They're one of the 16 teams left, and their best player hasn't even played yet.
Well, and the good thing is I think, and I'm not saying he would have, but if he had any thoughts of turning pro, those are gone. So he'll be back with the rest of the crew next year. So regardless of what happens, and hopefully it ends up with a few more wins, but everybody's back.
He hasn't scored, obviously.
No.
He's been terrible and hasn't hit a 3 in like a month. He has played pretty good defense.
He's got rebounds. He's there. He's on the court, and I think he's still obviously
just not on the offensive.
He's their vocal leader, but come on, Nigel. Your first team All Big Ten. You've got to make some kind of an appearance this weekend at some point.
Well, and if he does, I mean, don't you like their chances then?
I mean, I might even like their chances without him, but I can honestly say, don't know much about the Damers. I know they've beaten some good teams. They beat Duke. They beat Louisville. They beat North Carolina. So obviously, when they're playing well, they're capable of beating anybody. But
they also should have lost.
They should
have lost their last game.
Yeah, exactly. So
I mean, Stephen F. Austin kind of coughed up a lead, and
a good inside player, but a team that they'll run if they can, and they'll slow it up if they can. And I think you're going to see a game that's like we thought with Pittsburgh, a game that's going to be close and. The Badgers just might be on one of those rolls where good things are happening, and that's all you can ask for.
Well, and I think hopefully Nigel shows up on the offensive end, but if he doesn't, he's probably going to be on August, I would think, most or all of the day.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the best matchup I would think the Badgers are going to have. And if he can try to slow him down a little bit, that would bring a lot to the table, even if his offense doesn't get going.
And I don't think Notre Dame's not nearly as big, certainly as Xavier was, or Pittsburgh for that matter. So my question is, who guards Hap?
Right.
I mean, if August you're going to put him on, if you're going to put Augustine on Hap, then that should leave things a little bit open for Nigel, where he can maybe get away from that 3-point shot and try to use some of his post moves and get back into a groove where he's a force on the offensive end. Because if that happens, that just opens it up for everybody else.
How about Bronson Koenig with the? Well, I mean, there were some moments with other smaller teams, I guess, that maybe people will remember. But hey, that's a buzzer beater that's going to live on for some time.
Honestly, how many times have you watched it since then?
probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 50 or 60.
I think I'm approaching 100 on different angles and slow motion and a guy from Syracuse's camera and something else, but I can't stop watching it. And it reminded me of when Decker was a senior at Sheboygan Lutheran, and he basically willed his team to a state championship by hitting a shot very similar in the corner, a fadeaway, no chance of going in, nothing but net, and it brought me back to that. But certainly this is a much bigger stage for Koenig, and he talked about probably in all his games of basketball his first buzzer beater, and boy, he picked a good time for it. But really, the shot he made with 11 seconds left was huge, and certainly Showalter's charge, which I think a lot of games that's not even called, that's just a no call. Obviously, that gave him a chance to get there.
How about? I mean, we keep talking about it, but I mean, this team lost to Western Illinois and Milwaukee and Marquette, and here they are.
Yeah, and I had written them off a long time ago. I'd probably written them off in December when they lost to Northwestern in the Big Ten to go to 1-4. Gard had just taken over as the interim coach. I don't think the chemistry was real good. And Nigel Hayes, I think, said they had a players-only meeting where they left everything on the table, and Koenig finally said, look, you guys, we got to quit worrying about what we can do and just bring your best effort to practice every day, and we're going to go through this as a team. And that's what they've done. And even Gard said that, things that they've done lately, he isn't sure they were capable of doing 2 or 3 months ago. And that speaks well for what Gard's been able to do, and it speaks well for the leadership that they're getting from Koenig and Hayes, that they pulled that group together, because that train could have easily derailed and stayed off the tracks and never got back on.
Speaking of jumping off, I mean, with 6 minutes left, you also gave up on that game Sunday.
I did ask the waitress for my tab, and I said, I'm done because we're down by 9, and Nigel Hayes was awful, and Happ wasn't getting the ball in every possession like he should have been. And then, like they always seem to do, something spurred him on. And I think
you did stick around. I did
stick around.
You didn't leave.
And as you noticed, I was not sitting still. But Xavier, I thought, panicked a little bit, started forcing some shots on possessions, wasn't taking care of the ball, and I think forgot how to, maybe the old adage of playing, not playing to win, but playing not to lose. And I think it may have come back and backfired, but certainly not as bad as Northern Iowa.
There might never be
another choke job as bad as Northern Iowa. Sorry, Northern Iowa, but that was a choke. No other way to put it. You have a 12-point lead with 34 seconds left, and you can't get the ball in bounds.
We didn't even get to watch that one either.
No, and why? When I saw the replay, there was 1.2 left, and the guy stole the ball. The guy that was falling out of bounds, whether he was being pushed or not, why didn't he just take the ball and just throw it sky high?
Or throw it to the other end of the court.
Or the other end of the court, yeah.
Well, I think if you're in that moment,
you don't think about it. But man, you got to feel bad for those kids, because you're up 12 with 30 seconds to go. The Texas A&M fans had already left. They were trying to get back into the stadium or the arena. They weren't letting them in, and I mean, it was crazy, and that's an awful way to lose. I'm sorry.
Back to the Badgers real quick. What do we think now? You got them beating Notre Dame?
I got them beating Notre Dame, and then I'm hoping Indiana beats North Carolina. I'd love to see Wisconsin, Indiana part 3, and let's see what happens. We know we can play with them. We've beaten them.
I feel like it's a much better matchup than the Carolina matchup.
Right, but I didn't think Xavier was a good matchup either. And you know what? We tend to play to the level of the team we're playing against. And North Carolina's got – Bryce Johnson's a great player. Page is a great player, but they've had games where they just can't shoot the ball. And, you know me, I'm not a Roy Williams fan. So that goes back to the Dick Bennett Final Four when he said Wisconsin set basketball back 50 years. Well, you know what, Roy, your Kansas team wasn't at the Final Four, so shut the heck up. And, so
you got the Badgers in the Elite Eight.
I got the Badgers in the Elite Eight, and then I've got us probably losing to North Carolina.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
North Carolina looked pretty good the first
weekend. They're playing better than anybody else, but I don't like them.
Let's go through the rest of the bracket. Both of our Final Four teams are still left on the other side. Are you sticking with your original picks?
The Terrapins, nothing impressive, but they're still there. Obviously, they've got a huge task Thursday with Kansas, and, it'd be an upset if they won. But again, and even commentators have said it, Maryland's starting 5 is as good as anybody's, and I don't think there's any question about that. And it's true. And if they can beat Kansas, then they're looking at who's in the other half of that.
Villanova,
who's looked lights out against Iowa.
Yeah.
Iowa quit playing in February, and I'll stick with my Terrapins. Yes, I will.
I'll stick with Kansas.
All right.
They didn't have any problem with the first weekend.
Big limb you went out on there.
Well, I know. But hey, if I actually have a team left on that side of the bracket, so I got to stick with them.
I got all 8 teams in the Elite 8 on that side. The other side, not so much.
Now we go to the bottom left half of the bracket. We both had Oklahoma coming out of that. And I think there hasn't been a better player in the first 2 games than Buddy Hield.
Nope, there hasn't.
So are we sticking with Oklahoma then?
I am sticking with Oklahoma, although
we got Oregon,
A&M. Oregon.
It's 1, 2, 3, 4 in that bracket. You got Duke still there. So.
The Dukies. The Dukies are probably the worst team of those 4, but they'll probably be the ones that'll come out of there because it's Krzyzewski and he'll find a way. But no, I'm going to stick with the Sooners.
Me too. I think you got to go with the guy who's
hot.
He's the best player so far.
He is.
And if he plays like that, I don't know what you're going to like. They tried to make him step away, and he just kept hitting shots further and further out. And
he's the best player left in what's some good teams, but I don't think there's any great teams left.
Somebody on VCU taunted him and said hey, I thought you're the player of the year. How about you play like it? And then he went off for 30 points.
How about I scored 29 on your sorry butt in the second half? And he did.
You maybe if you're going to be the one guarding Buddy Hield, you should just be quiet
and guard him. Yes, exactly.
All right, so we still have Oklahoma, and then you have Maryland,
and you have Kansas,
and then we got the other side.
I have West Virginia, and Michigan State.
Everyone and their brother had Michigan State, and
some had Kentucky.
They didn't. Well, I mean, down in the bottom right.
Oh, the bottom, yes.
And that
didn't happen.
That ended very quickly. So now we've got Virginia versus Iowa State. And then you've got a 10-11 matchup on the other side. Gonzaga versus
get
Syracuse.
The Q's out of there. Well, I did tell you, I think that the Zags would get the Sweet 16, and here they are. They're a good team. And I think
they destroyed Utah. Destroyed them.
Again, everyone talks about it's so tough to play against Syracuse's 2-3 zone. Why? Syracuse has almost as many wins as losses. I mean, they weren't even supposed to be in the tournament. So it can't be that hard to get ready for their 2-3 zone. The Badgers went up there and beat them during the regular season. I mean, I get so tired of hearing Jim Boeheim in the 2-3 zone is so hard to play against. Somebody's played against it because they've got a bunch of losses. So they're out. They're going to lose to the Zags.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so too. Gonzaga's been great. I think they've got the pieces to break that 2-3 zone down.
I'll take the Cavaliers and Mr. Bennett.
Virginia.
Hopefully he's hydrated for this game, and I got them. I'll take the Zags playing the Cavaliers, and I'm going to go with the Cavaliers to get through.
Okay, I'll take Gonzaga.
All right.
So I got Kansas, Oklahoma, North Carolina, Gonzaga. And you've got Maryland, Oklahoma, North Carolina, and Virginia.
Yes.
Okay, who we got going from there?
I will go.
All of our other picks Maryland. You're going to take Maryland over who? You're going to stick with Maryland
over the Tar Heels.
Okay. I will take Kansas over the Tar Heels.
Right.
And a classic Roy's old team will beat them up in the national championship.
How would it be if Diamond Stone was the Final Four MVP?
Well, that would kind of sour it a little bit for me.
It would sour it a little bit, but hey, it could happen. I mean, he's still a man-child out there, but a lot of basketball left to be played.
Let's see if they get there first.
Yeah, I'd rather have Wisconsin versus Maryland in the championship game. But
I'll tell you what, these 3 days between Sunday and Thursday, they were like the longest 3 days.
Ever, yeah. And Friday can't get here soon enough. And, on
Monday, I found myself watching the Bucks.
Blow an 18-point lead or a 16-point lead or whatever.
Yeah.
But somebody said they're 7 games out of the playoffs with 11 left. I don't want them to make the playoffs.
Well, they're not making nobody thinks they're making the playoffs.
I want them to be in the lottery and possibly have a chance to move up to the top 2.
Right.
Why not?
And the funniest part is the Pistons were still in the playoff picture, so they handed them a game for the playoffs.
You can have it. We don't want it.
Whatever. It's the NBA. Who cares?
Yeah, who cares?
The Brewers got opening day just about 2 weeks away. Is that right?
2 weeks from
Monday.
Yesterday, yeah. But, okay, Craig Counsell, Willie Peralta is your opening day starter over Youngman or Nelson or whoever. I mean,
ZRA's only 11 in the spring.
He's been impressive in the spring. He's throwing well. He's not getting guys out. He's not keeping the ball in the park. Really doing a lot of things that you want from your number one starter. Giving up 2 home runs to Pujols in the same inning. Willie's not worried about it. Counsell's not worried about it. Everybody else is worried about it. I'm worried about it.
Why? I mean, they're going to lose 100 games anyway.
I know,
who cares?
But I mean, usually, I know it's spring training and you're working on pitches and you're not doing everything you're going to do in a game, but still, he's been awful.
Well, reward the guy who's been from the franchise for a while.
So then who's
maybe that gives him some confidence going into the season. I don't know.
Who's your two?
But I just don't think who cares? They're going to rotate through loss after loss after loss for 162 games.
Why not name Garza? Maybe that head case. Maybe it would help him.
Well,
he threw a no-hitter.
Is that going to get you excited?
He threw a no-hitter.
I don't know. Well, it doesn't matter.
No,
throw me out there for opening day. I mean, people are still going to go.
I've
party
seen you throw at the circus and at the carnival. I wasn't impressed with your arm. No,
couldn't knock all the milk.
You couldn't break
down.
65 in the radar gun. No.
Anything else we got our eyes on here? Is spring training?
Well, I think with the high school season really kind of getting uncorked this weekend, I'm hoping the snow stays away Thursday so that softball can kind of get going, and then we jump into it next week with track and baseball, and it's here, and hopefully Mother Nature cooperates, and we're not playing 6 games a week a month from now.
Well, a lot of years we've got like a foot of snow still on the ground at this point, so that bodes well.
That does bode well, but like I say, the Craig softball opens on Thursday at Beloit Turner, which was the state runner-up a year ago. And
if it's not snowing,
and I doubt that'll happen, but certainly Saturday, a chance to watch Parker and Craig and Melton in softball at the U Sports Complex, and that kind of kicks things off, so to speak. There was a track meet last week in Whitewater indoor where some area teams competed, but really the outdoor season begins in flux starting next Tuesday.
And the Jets are home again this weekend.
They are?
A 3-game homestand, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Wow.
So get on down to the ice arena. They play Springfield, which it's been kind of like the Jets are in third in their division pretty solidly. But I think 5 of their 16 losses this season have come to Springfield, which is 4th.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know.
Whereas they've had good success against Fairbanks.
Right,
they haven't had good luck against Springfield. And I'm not sure how close they are to second, but obviously
I think it's about 5 points.
It really it matters in the sense of home and home, but 2 ends up playing 3 anyway, right?
Right.
So it doesn't.
They might have some games in hand, which is why they got to catch up with 3 this week.
Okay.
But maybe they can get over the Springfield hump, so to speak, and I think they probably play them 100 times in the next month in the the end of this season.
Okay,
that's just how the schedule lays out.
Let's just say a friendly bet.
Oh boy,
Nigel scores 15 points Friday night. Yes or no?
Which side do you want?
I'd like the over.
All right, I'll take the under. I was leaning that way anyway.
Come on, Nigel.
It's hard to bet on over 15 when you haven't seen him
when he hasn't had that combined in 2 games. So
first, you better take that milk carton out and go find him.
I will find him. I know where he's at. He's doing a press conference looking for the Glee star.
That's Friday night in Philly. TNT again.
Motown Philly back again.
I don't remember for sure, but 5
TBS, I think.
At 6:30 or
6:40 tip off, 6:30 probably come on air, yeah.
And then I think they're going to be playing again Sunday.
I hope you're right.
Maybe they can go 3 Final Fours in a row would be
crazy.
Ridiculous.
That would be ridiculous to go along with, their streak they already got going with the Bulls and this is from
What if they went from a team where we didn't even think that they were going to make like the NIT and then they made the Final Four? Has that ever happened before?
That's wacky. That's not right. It's just not right. And it's again, it's a tribute to Guard, and kudos to him. I mean, to get that team where it's at now it takes a lot of different people involved. But I tip my hat to Greg Guard because it's a joy to be a Badger fan right now.
Hopefully, we're still talking about them at this time next week. Well, we will either way. Probably,
either way. Yeah.
Hopefully, they're still playing.
Right.
If you want to leave us a note, you can at GazetteXtra.com or leave us a comment on YouTube or Twitter or find us on Facebook. Let your friends know that we're here. So we can get some more comments. Maybe we'll even read them online.
We probably will, yeah.
You could also email us at sports@GazetteXtra.com if you're so inclined. Thanks to Dave Vaughn for producing.
The best.
Kevin McLeod for the tunes, and let's get another Final Four.
Let's go. Go Badgers.
See you next week.